Most commercial real estate models assume that once a contract is signed, the closing is a simple administrative formality. The data suggests otherwise. This chart illustrates the actual reality of commercial deal flow. According to industry data, nearly 60% of transactions require the resolution of 3 to 5 distinct title defects before closing. Clearing those legal defects is only the first hurdle. The most fatal threat to a deal arrives at the funding stage, where compromised business emails intercept massive capital transfers. In 2024, the FBI recorded $2.77 billion lost to business email compromise. Without a deliberate intervention system, millions of dollars in highly leveraged capital sit exposed to these legal and financial vulnerabilities long before anyone reaches the signing table. Protecting high-leverage capital requires a proactive risk mitigation framework, one that identifies and neutralizes these vulnerabilities before the transaction ever closes. There is a common misconception that a commercial close operates exactly like a residential transaction, just with extra zeros on the contract. Commercial deals carry specific layers of risk residential files rarely encounter. We navigate convoluted entity structures, strict commercial lender requirements, and complex land use rights. Securing the asset and finalizing the deal relies on executing a strict 5-step procedural architecture. Applying this architecture provides the structural oversight necessary to systematically isolate spatial, legal, and financial threats. Step 1 of this architecture is open and order. We initiate a comprehensive title search to establish the baseline legal parameters of the property. Simultaneously, we must secure the exact requirements from the commercial lender right at the inception of the file. This initial phase functions as a deep preliminary scan, mapping out the entire scope of the necessary due diligence work ahead. Initiating these parallel data streams on day 1 ensures we find the anomalies early, preventing catastrophic timeline stalls right when the closing date approaches. Step 2 is issuing the title commitment and reviewing the ALTA and NSPS survey. This diagram illustrates the ALTA survey, mapping physical reality against recorded legal boundaries. It exposes physical risks, like a neighbor's structural encroachment over the property line. It also maps invisible legal risks, showing exactly where underground utility easements cut through the buildable area. Once these spatial findings are clear, they are cross-referenced directly against the initial legal title commitment. Any discrepancy between the physical survey and the recorded legal title is flagged immediately for resolution. Reconciling the ALTA survey with the title commitment dictates whether the property can actually be developed, renovated, or utilized as the buyer intends. Once the risks are identified, we enter Step 3, Diligence and Curative Work. This logic tree breaks down the curative phase. The left side targets title defects, like mechanics liens, using attorney-led judgment to achieve a clear status. The right side confirms the specific LLC, partnership, or trust has the legal standing and correct signatures to execute the deal. Finalizing the lien removal and verifying the entity documentation long before the actual closing date is a strict requirement. This rigorous curative phase ensures no legal surprises surface on signing day, which keeps the deployment of your capital strictly on schedule. Step 4 of the pipeline is coordinate the close. We now face the immense logistical challenge of forcing multiple, disparate institutional parties to align onto a single, unforgiving transaction timeline. We must mathematically and legally synchronize the buyer, the seller, the commercial lender, and their respective legal counsel. This coordination becomes highly specialized when a 1031 exchange is involved, adding a time-sensitive commercial complication to the mix. A 1031 exchange requires integrating a qualified intermediary into the network to protect the strict tax deferral deadlines dictated by the federal government. Across this entire network of participants, the title and escrow team finalizes, balances, and confirms all financial figures. Mastering this multi-party coordination prevents the timeline from collapsing under the weight of a complex, multi-tiered commercial transaction. The fifth and final step is fund and record. Commercial funding relies on massive, large-dollar wire transfers, which act as highly visible targets for sophisticated cybercriminals. The consequences of protocol failure here are severe. The average real estate wire fraud incident results in a $150,000 to $200,000 loss. The primary defense against this threat is funneling the capital through a highly secure, verified digital escrow environment. Before a single dollar moves, we enforce a strict unbreakable protocol. Wire instructions are verified, and mandatory phone confirmations are conducted with known individuals. Only after verification is cleared do we safely disperse the protected funds and legally record the closing documents with the county. These rigorous, unbending escrow protocols act as the final firewall, preventing the loss of high-leverage capital at the finish line. This five-step architectural pipeline functions as a cohesive, impenetrable unit, carrying the deal from the initial contract directly to recording. The system neutralizes spatial conflicts through the rigorous application of ALTA and NSPS surveys. It eliminates legal conflicts through proactive, attorney-led curative work and deep entity verification. And it defeats financial threats through unyielding escrow and wire verification protocols. The final output of this rigorous system is the delivery of clean, fully insured, and highly marketable title. This exhaustive upfront due diligence permanently protects the asset against competing claims for the entire life cycle of your ownership. The title and escrow process serves as the essential structural framework for securing a commercial transaction and safeguarding the capital behind it.